Sinnerman, the most discussed mission in Cyberpunk 2077 online, but I can tell. When I made my video about the most disturbing mission in Cyberpunk 2077, oh boy, did the audience say, well, maybe, but what about Sinnerman? So today, I'm going through Sinnerman and the subsequent missions after it, because it actually has 3 different quests. It's not just the Sinnerman Quest, but it's the one that starts about what is so disturbing about this. It is something that I struggled to really understand with why did people care about this mission so much? What impacted so many people that didn't hit me on my first initial playthrough? So today, I'm going through each of these different missions to figure out, is it really more disturbing than the hunt? Or is the most disturbing mission truly personally based from person to person? Because it seems so hard for you to argue that point when so many people resonated with the Sinnerman Quest line. So how does it start? Well, the Sinnerman Quest starts with a confrontation between a random gig that starts out of nowhere, doesn't sound good, V gets inside the car, and some dude needs some protection for some car we're gonna stop. He is very loose with the details unless you push him a little more to find out he's trying to get revenge on a murderer who killed his wife.
They're supposed to pass down this street. We just sit tight till they show up and follow them. I want to see the light in that motherfucker's eyes go out.
Whoa, why?
So he can smell his own fear before he dies.
Want him dead? Why, exactly?
That's not your concern.
Rather know what I'm getting into.
Stevenson murdered my wife. They convicted him, put him on death row, but the slime bag found a get-out-of-jail-free card over my dead fucking body.
Wait, Stevenson won't be alone? Could have prepared better knowing that.
No one else needs to die today, only him.
Who's his entourage? They gonna be packing?
Ordinary people. Once we scare them, let them know we're serious, they won't lift a finger.
How do you define ordinary?
Corpo rats who got him out of the can. They'd sell their own mothers to save their own skins. Just don't fire at them.
Plan sounds half-baked. Honestly, don't like it.
What's that supposed to mean?
First up, don't execute in public. Don't need an audience. Second, they could get away.
You don't get it. I spent my life savings on this. That's them. Step on it.
We go into a car chase just before we get pushed for more questions, and as we find ourselves down underneath an overpass, we're ready for a shootout. As we approach the vehicle, the person that hired us for this gig gets zeroed right in the head.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna fucking kill him.
NCPD! Stop right there! Lieutenant Vasquez, NCPD! Stop right there!
You're protecting a murderer!
Drop it or I shoot!
And then we have a choice. We can walk away or fight everybody or hear them out. The first 2 options will basically end the mission early. But the third option, things are a little more interesting. You can start talking to the people and you actually find the convicted murderer wants to befriend you and has like prophesized you're gonna come help him out. Joshua is the name of this character, and that is the murderer who is set up for death row.
Fuck! We can't leave her here. Media vultures will be here any minute.
The fuck are you doing? Stop! NCPD! Stay where you are! And get that goddamn semi out of here! We take her with us.
What?
Want me to come with you?
I need you.
You're out of your fucking mind.
Hey, another word from you and I am calling the studio. Gregor, don't
busted
make me
an
ruin your
attempted hit
career.
on my guy.
Nobody,
Yeah,
and I mean
one cat.
nobody,
Bill
will harm
Jablonski.
a hair on
No
your
bribes,
head.
but run a deep sweep
I'm
just
just
to be sure.
borrowing you.
Thanks, I owe you.
What the hell is
Can't have this
this?
coming back.
What's your name?
This, what a fucking mess.
V.
Told you to drop it,
Josh
dickhead.
Stevenson. But you probably
listened.
knew that already.
Should've fucking listened.
You're
We're
associate.
clear to go. Boys from
What
the
was his
precinct will
name?
mop up here.
Bill Jablonski. Ring a bell.
Sadly, yes. Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom.
Wait a sec, you're V. I heard of you.
Can't say the same about you.
We can't take her. Out of the question. She's way too big a threat.
Well, I want to give her a job.
Christ on a stick.
Finally, something that isn't a complete snore fest. Could binge watch this all day if I had some popcorn.
Gonna tell me what it is you want from me?
Well, this one time, Rachel is right. We can't stay here. Come with us. You'll find out all you need to know on the way.
Got to object, strongly.
Noted. But you don't have a vote here.
Ha! That's it. Got no fucking idea what this is about. But if you don't go with them, I'm never talking to you again.
What we then find out as we get in the car and start listening to the story is Joshua is being used by a corporate entity to record a brain dance of him being crucified. That's the whole idea, is they're recreating the Catholic belief in the Passion of Christ, which is okay. There's points right there on the board for that. It's pretty crazy, all right? The NCBD is help sponsoring to keep him safe until he is executed because he has an execution to carry out. Now, in the same breath, Joshua has found God in this time in prison and when connecting with one of the sisters of one of his victims. We go visit such a sister as Joshua is trying to make his repentance and the sister trying to find some sort of peace with her brother's murder. We have seen this in real life where we end up having family members have estranged relationships with the murderer because grief takes so many different forms. This little reunion is ruined when the mother comes home and is unwilling to accept Joshua's petition for forgiveness. And rightfully so. I mean, what parent can forgive someone that murdered their kids? That's really difficult philosophical question to answer. So much so, it starts to waver and question Joshua's belief in what's going on.
Just wish I could have talked to Gloria, explained everything. Somehow I thought she'd find it in her heart to forgive me.
And your role in this mission can either to be aid, ambivalent, or harm his own belief in the new faith he's found to try and find peace with the life he's absolutely ruined in his own and all those around him. Okay, things are getting serious. We take a break to go get food, but we get to one-on-one with the Corpo that wants to just pay us to go away and stop getting in Joshua's head because they want the best BD ever for sales. They don't care about who's been hurt or who's seeking redemption.
I want to talk. So, what do you think about our next big BD star?
He's got some organic chips loose. Needs psychiatric help.
My thoughts exactly. But it's too late for that.
If he's as crazy as you say, why is he so important to you?
Because Stevenson's got a little something that's in short supply, but in very high demand. That little something's called authenticity. And that brain composed entirely of cat shit at this point. He truly believes what he says.
Ah, sounds like the perfect BD actor.
And one incapable of fucking up in any way. Stevenson could be a fat old fucking gold vein for our studio.
And that's my concern because...
You're fucking with his mind, asking probing questions. You're making him doubt, and most importantly, jeopardizing my investment. So I'm prepared to pay you double what he's promised you to quietly walk away.
Don't do it, V.
My answer's no.
Why do I think you don't understand what I'm offering you?
Understand just fine. Let's go inside.
Not bad for a petty merc off the streets.
Yet another little thread that's been put into this complicated weave. So after we eat and potentially get into an argument or pacify everybody, V goes on with her life. Not until a few days later, or whenever the dumb trigger works, it was taking me forever to get it going, do you get a call from that same Corpo that is now begging you to come talk to Joshua because he only will talk to V right now before his big crucifixion. So we go to the set lot and we see a gigantic protest going on. And there is a bunch of people, angry people of the Catholic faith or Christian faith, that find this to be a mockery of their faith or to be blasphemous of such an act as somebody to basically pretend to be their prophet. Oh, gee. This is dicey, spicy waters. Security doesn't care. They let you through into the back as they just want to get this day over with as soon as possible. Before you get in there to go talk to the Corpo and Joshua, you can hear a side conversation about these two people that work here at the BD factory, and one of which is describing how she killed a young child for a BD experience, and the other one's going to blackmail to expose her.
Data shard, it automatically copies it to the drive, temporarily. Okay, Listen, there's no need to make a big deal out of... Out of what? Chopping up a kid alive? Now wait, just hold on. I've already got a buyer. We can split it down the middle. Second I get the Yetis, I swear.
No. You're gonna give it to me now. I really doubt you have a buyer. Honestly, it's the worst XBD I've ever seen. No real feel to it whatsoever.
Oh my God, these people are horrific. Oh, that was like on level with the most disturbing stuff I heard in the hunt. Like, I was like, what? This just side conversation I didn't hear the first time? Oh my Lord. So that was gross. Then we go in and the corporal tells us basically do anything to get him going for his job. We go into the back rooms and we see Joshua getting second thoughts about this entire scenario. Doesn't want to die, which is human. It's very scary to be meeting your death and knowing it's coming. After all that's happened, it's tough when it's right in front of you to accept that, especially when you don't have a permanent illness, when you are not in eternal pain, when this is something that seems too early in a life.
Now, again, morality speaking, he's a piece of garbage that murdered a bunch of people. Like, we got to be on the same page here, right?
But what's so beautiful about how this mission is presented is it muddies the water so much to understand or try to understand the human condition, empathy and fear and emotion, and how life isn't as simple as good guy, bad guy. This is a guy that's done a lot of bad things who then wants to seek redemption and forgive for all the mistakes he's made. Somebody that's showing some growth and he has empathy and remorse for what he's done in the family he's hurt.
But that doesn't make it okay. It doesn't mean he can be forgiven. God, doesn't that just make things feel so much worse? It's just like, God, why couldn't you just stay evil?
It's so much easier in your mind to put things to rest when it's binary like that. And again, why I love the Cyberpunk 2077 series so much is because of these really deep ideas that they attack. So once again, we are given a bunch of dialogue options in which we can comfort, abstain, or worsen Joshua's mental state here. Based on some of the stuff you've done earlier, you can actually get him to really mess up this entire scenario by putting a lot of doubt into his head, which then affects the BD in a way where he no longer authentically feels what he is doing is right and justified. He loses his conviction and thus messes up the BD for the Corpos. Joshua's going to ask you to participate inside this, which is something I did not do on my playthroughs, which now I understand where players could be coming from about how disturbing it is. Because I was like, what? Are you crazy? I'm not going to do this. This is sick. Well, if you do follow through with the sickness, he wants you, V, to hammer in the nails for his crucifixion, which normally crucifixion is such a painful, terrible process. It takes a very long time, but you know, we're in a video game, so they speed it up a bit. But even the set itself is this empty, gross area. It feels sterile and soulless. There's a bunch of stagehands that are just there to watch this, make sure the BD gets recorded, and this is just another day in their life. While moments ago, you were sitting down with this individual tackling these massive existential and philosophical questions about the meaning of life, existence, and death. It's a really great show of what corporations are. They don't care about the human element in this world and a lot in our real world. It is all about the bottom line. It's all about the next experience and dollar and looking out for yourself. It's a depressing, hopeless, and terrible world that not everybody's on board with. But unfortunately, in the Cyberpunk 2077 world, they're the ones with all the power. So Joshua passes away, and
Technically, you murdered him if you help put in all the stuff, but that's neither here nor there.
if you don't, you just see some stagehand that doesn't care in a t-shirt and slacks performing it, and that's just as awful. And then you either get reprimanded or congratulated for helping out in the situation by the Corpo, and you will receive payment from her in days to come. She'll tell you with either happiness or disdain how the BD went, depending on the choices you made, and that is the end of the Sinnerman Quest. It is one that really digs into these interpersonal relationships. It deals with the confrontation of death. It has religious overtones. It's not understated whatsoever. It has massive, massive commentary on the religious faith, in particular the Christian Catholic faith. It puts these more dilemmas in the hands of you, the player, as you have to make these different decisions. And it shows the psychological stress and strain that Joshua is under as he is somebody struggling with extreme guilt, his own faith, and the meaning of his life. His willingness to suffer extreme physical pain in the pursuit of spiritual redemption is kind of messed up. It makes me confront the ideas of mental health, fanaticism, and the nature of punishment. Now, did I find this more disturbing than The Hunt?
I didn't.
And that's only because I find child kidnapping and experimentation more upsetting to me than these bigger life and death justice scenarios. This moral ambiguity and frustration with guilt in what is right and wrong is something that has been deeply personal to me for a long time. And I don't know, I can find comfort in that and understanding that these are very difficult questions that unfortunately we don't have answers to, but I can have a peace knowing that, I don't have any control of that. That's what this is. Was there a moral right and wrong, life after death, and so forth?
But in the same vein, that stuff still freaks me out and scares the crap out of me about I don't know what happens after death.
So you go back and forth on that, where something so human about the true capability of serial killers and monsters, true psychopaths, is disturbing to see the depths in which a human can exhibit the worst in human nature without remorse. I mean, maybe that's the difference, is that somebody is broken and out of their mind as the meat man inside The Hunt versus Joshua here, who is somebody that is just completely broken by their horrible decisions. It hits differently for me, from psychopath to fanatic. In conclusion, when playing the Sinnerman Quest line, I found I did gain a lot of appreciation for why a lot of other people may have had this mission be the most disturbing mission to them. I can see its ties to corporate, religious, and generational trauma, making it a tough mission to get through. But for it to be this definitive mission that is the most disturbing compared to all the disturbing things inside Cyberpunk 2077, I feel like I can say from my perspective, that's not the case. I think there are so many different types of traumas and disturbing themes and missions inside this game that every player is going to be able to find their own. There's going to be pockets like Sinnerman, like The Hunt, like the Academy mission that are going to cause players to react and feel something. And I think that's a good thing, to be challenging these ideas. It's not shocking in conclusion, but it is what I wanted to explore because this mission is special to a lot of people. And I thank everybody who encouraged me to replay it and make a video on it. Thank you to all the patrons that support these videos. Thank you to Evelyn, Octahedral Entertainment, Beefy, Awesomenator, The Taco Games, S9, Deputy Flakes, Anon Zen, and Mr. Burger for supporting me on Patreon. You make my videos possible, and I really appreciate it. I have more content coming out, so look forward to it. But I'd be curious to know what your thoughts are. It's totally okay if you disagree or agree with me. I'd be curious to know which mission you found more disturbing and why. Thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe for more Cyberpunk 2077 videos and lots of other gaming-related content.